Good evening, YouTubers. We're back on the boat today, and we're sitting in the sunset. We've been waiting for the sun to go down. It's been really hot today. I've been sleeping. I've had all my clothes off and just laying on the bed. It's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I've done a few flight sim videos as well. I did some Spitfire flying up in Coningsby. Was doing switching the engines off and gliding it back, see if I could get it in and talk about dead sticking the Spitfire and the in the light of the guy who died, you see, because you can have engine failures, and if you don't get it right, you know you're gonna die, and
it's very sad.
It is very sad. It's always a tremendous sadness when something like that happens, for sure. Anyway,
I had a question.
Go on.
Right, I know you've got what you call a bone dome.
Yes.
Now, I've never asked. I remember you getting your head measured for it, but I've never asked how much it cost, why you did it, what's the purpose, and what its proper name is.
Well, it's an Alpha helmet. This is mine. Yeah, bought this new. It was at the time. I mean, I've had it 20 years. I've had it 20 years now. It's the standard sort of RAF helmet. This is the same one that the fighter pilots wear, but they have an oxygen mask strapped to the front. I've got a boom mic on there, and on top I've got some visors. One's clear and one is tinted for the sun. That's the clear one and that's the tinted one. And the whole idea of that is if you get a bird strike, really, and they come through the windscreen and it stops you from going blind, which may hinder your chances of landing the aircraft.
You're going to put it on, and does it still fit your head?
I don't know if my head's
yeah,
still...
let me take your glasses.
Yes, that'd be a good idea. But I got this for mainly for helicopters. And
where did you get it made? Was it a shop in Shoreham?
I got it from Shoreham. It's
Shoreham Airport.
I bought it from Shoreham, yeah. I have to have my head measured and fitted and everything.
How did they measure your head? Just a tape measure around it, or was it a lot more specific than that?
Do you know, I can't remember. But you put it on, you put it on your forehead and you roll it on. I've forgotten about my ears. Oh, no, that's a squeeze.
Have you got a big head since you had it made?
No, it still fits.
It's meant to be like that, is it?
But then you've got two tabs on the top, which you're supposed to slacken off before you put it on.
Oh, right.
That's it. Then you tighten them up and it clamps up, and obviously you fasten the chin strap. And it comes with two microphones. One's for the when you're flying aeroplanes, you've usually got a jack for the microphone, the small one, and the big ones for the headphones. But helicopters normally come with a NATO jack, which is UK NATO, not American NATO, because they're not the same. They look the same, but they don't work.
Now, have you ever worn it while you've been flying a plane?
Yeah. In fact, the last time I wore this, I flew an extra 300. You know, like the Red Bull.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember
plane, and
the kiddie.
Fiona paid for that for me.
Yeah, me and the kids paid for that.
Yeah.
And that was kind of awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, I used to use it regularly. Depending on what I was flying. If you're flying an aerobatic aircraft, you're well advised to wear a helmet and parachute.
How much for something like that?
I think the basic helmet was about £1,000.
Right.
But I had a few modifications done to this. I had a few extra things put on, like these ears. The idea of that is so parachute lines don't go behind these levers.
Right.
Because they could break your neck. It's happened in the past, and so I thought, well, I'll put them on, because if I'm flying an aerobatic aircraft, I will be wearing a parachute, and
because you
might have to bail out, you know.
How many parachute jumps have you done in your life?
I've never jumped out of an aeroplane that's crashing. Okay, but skydiving, yeah, I've done about 550.
Right.
Yeah, I'll put that down in the inside.
Oh, all right. I could put it here with your cap.
Oh, okay. Put it there.
So, But
have it on my shelf these days.
Normally the type of aircraft people would wear that in any kind of aircraft or particular type, or...
Well, the reason pilots don't wear them is because they don't warrant the expense. You know,
Right.
most pilots just buy a pair of Dave Clark headphones for
Which is quite
200 quid.
expensive.
When I bought them, they were about 225.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they are. I sold mine on eBay ages ago because I don't do much flying in the real world anymore. But yeah, most pilots can't afford them, so that's the simple reason. I mean, you're always best off wearing a helmet. It's like riding a motorbike, you know, should I wear a helmet or not? Well, it's the law, you got to wear a helmet. But I mean, if it wasn't the law and you didn't have to wear a helmet, would you wear a helmet? Well, yeah, I think I would actually, because it's common sense, isn't it, to wear a helmet.
What got you interested in flying in the first place?
My dad was in the Air Force.
Right.
And so when I was growing up, he was a squadron leader. He'd already left the Air Force, and he was with the RAF VR. So he was a squadron leader. He was a flight lieutenant, had his own squadron, 90 Squadron at Speke Airport in Liverpool. And so I grew up, and he was always going off to the cadets, you know, and doing the stuff, the ATC stuff. And I wanted to join. I wanted to be a cadet, but you couldn't join until you were 13 or something like that. I think I got in when I was 12.
Bit of nepotism there.
Yeah. But it was great fun. I mean, I kept it up until I was about 16, and went to annual camp in Malta. That was did some
Cool.
some flying, got some flying in, gliding, and
Right.
chipmunk flying with the local University Air Squadron, which was at Woodvale.
Yeah.
And you go to annual camps and you get a bit of flying in as well. And the chipmunks were still in RAF service in those. I'm going back to the 70s now, early 70s. So yeah, that was good fun. It was all good fun.
Our kids went to Air Cadets, didn't they, here in Jib, but they didn't do anything. I think they went on various military planes that were in
Yeah.
visiting. I can't remember which ones, but yeah, it's good fun for kids. They can socialise, can't they?
Yeah, we used to get the RAF coming out, Air Cadets coming out to Gibraltar
Yeah.
for the week for the
Oh
summer
yes,
camps.
we
remember?
did. Do you know? I'd forgotten that. Yes,
And we
yes,
used to take them out with Dolphin, but it was one of the activities.
2 or 3 or maybe even 4 trips with them. Yeah, they were good fun, weren't they? And how much did it cost you to learn to fly?
Oh, well, I had to pay for that myself.
Mhm.
Probably in those days it would be about £6,000 or £7,000, but that's not enough. I mean, that's just to get your pilot's license. I mean, you've got to go. I had to just learn more. So I probably spent about 20 grand.
Did you get night rating?
Yeah, night rating.
Instrument?
Not instrument rating. No, we had a thing called IMC rating, which was for flying on
Twin?
cloudy days.
Twin engine?
Twin multi-engine rating.
Night
yeah.
rating?
Night ratings. Yeah, that was all you needed really. I mean, there's no point in doing an instrument rating unless you're going to fly airlines and you're going to go
Right.
flying on instrument, you know, in airspace and airways and stuff like that. Which we never did because we were in little planes. You know, the biggest plane I flew in real life was a Seneca, twin engine Seneca, PA-34.
I remember you used to fly the little Slingsby a lot.
Oh, that was great fun. Yeah.
It was like a little tiny
T-67.
aerobatic.
It was 2-seater side by side.
Yeah.
But they very soon got too slow. You know, I was just thinking, oh, we need something fast. You know.
Yeah.
But again, the sky's the limit. How much money have you got? You can fly what you want. How much have you got? Obviously not enough. So.
And you guys used to go visiting, like if you just wanted a short jolly. I seem to remember people going from Shoreham to Goodwood.
Yeah, Goodwood was the next airfield
yeah,
down. So
you'd go over there, go up land, have a cup of tea. And
Isle of Wight was a classic. We used to do Sandown and Bembridge.
Did you ever visit Headcorn or?
Yes, we
Did
went
you?
to yeah. In fact, when I was doing my pilot training, the touch and goes were cheaper at Headcorn.
Right.
So we'd fly up to Headcorn, have a cup of tea, and then we'd go off and we'd go round and round and round in the circuit because the touch and goes were a lot cheaper. And then we'd fly back. So we'd get some cross-country work in as well. So that was good. It was all good. All good fun. Manston in Kent, that's where we'd go when we were going to the continent. If you were going to Amsterdam, for example, or I don't know, anywhere really in that direction, you'd stop at Manston because you got to take all your documents in, and
Right,
you've got to have a temporary export certificate. Then you've got to fill the plane up with fuel, and you can claim your VAT back on the fuel because you're leaving the country.
So
and
was Manston
stuff like
an airport back in those days?
Manston's massive, absolutely massive, long runway. It was an RAF base.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to reopen, actually, Manston. It's been closed for a few years now.
Yeah, it's been a lorry park or something, hasn't it?
They used it as a lorry park when they had all those traffic jams at Dover. But I think it'll reopen again because the runway is long enough to handle serious aeroplanes. You know, I mean, commercial aeroplanes. You need a big long runway for jets and things like that. So it could easily do it, and it's in a really good place. I don't see any reason why it's closed. It should open up again in the future.
And another one you used to visit a lot was Biggin Hill. My sister, when she was sent on an officer training for 3 days, that was at Biggin Hill.
Yes.
And you used to go up there, and a lot of the pilots going up to Biggin Hill, which is quite some distance.
There's a selection centre.
Quite some distance to drive, isn't it? But
we used to fly up there. But it's the other side of Gatwick Zone, but you could go round Gatwick Zone to the east, and you could go under it.
Right.
It's a TMA, you see, and what happens is round the airport, you can't fly in there. But then the altitude goes up and it goes out, and it goes up and it goes out, because the planes are descending and landing and taking off, and so that's how it works. So you can actually go round it without talking to. But if you did talk to Gatwick, you can fly through controlled airspace. If you talk to them and say, I'm going to Biggin Hill. I'm here. Can I cross?
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they'll say to you either no, you can't because there's incoming traffic, or yeah, you can. It's you've got to talk to them. But if you don't want to talk to them, you just go round. So we'd go up to Mayfield and across the hills.
What's the big Birmingham one you used to talk to? I can't think of the name.
Hackney Green.
That's it. Yeah.
It's not really a big field, but
oh, is it not?
We'd fly overhead when going to Liverpool and places like that. Yeah, we'd go up that way.
Right.
Cosford, Hackney Green.
Because you used to fly up, collect Richard for the weekend,
and bring him back.
Flying back, and then and did you take him back the same way? Or did his mum and Paul come down together?
They used to pick him up from Barton. I used to land at Manchester Barton and drop him off there, and I'd pick him up there.
So really, the world is your oyster if you've got a PPL, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you can fly around. You know, it still takes a couple of hours to get to. It was 4 hours in the car or 2 hours in the aeroplane.
Right.
And if you're clocking hours up anyway because you're building your hours because you want to, it's ideal, and it's a good excuse. I think I went up to the Lake District once. Went up to Windermere.
Not with me because I don't like flying.
Oosh, listen.
I've only been in a plane with you twice, I think. Only twice.
I think you've been more than that.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have in Holland as well.
More than that.
Yeah.
Yes, all good fun. I used to enjoy flying, you know, but it was. You soon grow out of what you're learning, and you want to move on to bigger, faster, more expensive stuff, and you just haven't got the money.
There were a lot of great characters at Shoreham. That was a large part of it, wasn't it? The social life, and there were people who had vintage aircraft. There were people that had very modern, fast aircraft. They were all different types of plane owners, and they were perpetually comparing, you know, which is the best flying machine.
Sorry, darling, I'm back. Yes, they were all snobs.
No, they weren't. They were lovely. They were lovely people, all of them. And Bev was one of my favourite.
Bev Pook, yeah. Good lad, Bev.
He had a chipmunk, didn't he?
No, he didn't. He wished he did.
Oh.
But he was a huge chipmunk fan, and he was best friends with everyone that did have one. And
he was lovely.
He loved flying chipmunks, tiger moths, that sort of thing. He was right in his stomps. He knew everybody who had aeroplanes, and he was a really friendly guy, really nice guy. And you couldn't not say to him, "Oh, jump in, Bev, let's go for a fly," and he'd be like, "Oh yes, go for it." In fact, when I was flying the Wilga with Denny, because I was the first pilot on the Wilga, I checked out Jim Green, who was the flying instructor, and I checked out Bev, and I'm pretty sure Bev took over from me when we left.
Right.
Flying Denny's Wilga.
Denny's down in Cyprus now, isn't he? Of course.
He is, yeah, he is. I think
it's all changed at Shoreham now.
Jim Green's passed on now.
Oh yes, I think I heard that.
Yeah. His son is flying for the airline still.
Yeah.
We're sort of friends on
And
Facebook.
Dennis Kenyon, is he still alive?
No, Dennis has died.
Okay.
Dennis was one of the best helicopter pilots in the world.
Like stunt pilot,
He was
helicopter.
very, very good. And he actually, I knew him from Shoreham. I flew with him in Shoreham, not in helicopters. And he actually flew with my dad in the Air Force on Canberras in the 50s. And I'm like, no way. Because I showed him, we talked about it one day, and he went, I was in 61 Squadron. What year was that? Your dad was there. And I said to him, and I told him which year it was, and he said, oh, I can't remember your dad. I said, well, anyway, I went and got the photo album, took him the photo, and I took him my dad's flying logbook. My dad was a navigator. And I said, look, there, Kenyon. And he goes, I better check with my logbook. And he checked with his own logbook, and he sent me photocopies of his own logbook where he'd flown with my dad. He said, there it is in black and white. He goes, I don't remember him. But it was a long time ago, 1955, let's just say, for argument's sake. But I mean, Dennis was very old by the time he died.
Was it St Edward's
It was over 80.
Island or something?
Prince Edward Island.
Prince Edward Island, Canada, because I think there's some people from there.
Yeah, well, my dad's flying logbook, because he was navigator, it was actually issued to him in Canada. So it's got Royal Canadian Air Force on it, and he wasn't in the Royal Canadian Air Force, he was in the Royal Air Force.
Right.
But they trained in Canada. They did the navigation courses on varsities and C-47s, stuff like that, for letters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's a picture of him at Digby.
Oh, yeah. If you can see it.
When he first joined up.
Oh, RAF Digby, yes.
This is his Tiger Moth flying training at RAF Digby. And this would be 1951, 52, somewhere around that point. So there he is. There's my dad. I know it looks like Biggles from the First World War, but it isn't. That is a Tiger Moth, and it is 1950s. And he's better looking than me.
That's kind of awesome to have that sort of history. I mean, my family are completely different. None of my lot like flying. My dad was in the RAF, my granddad was in the RAF. They were both terrified of flying. Didn't like it. Completely different spectrum to your family. No, that's awesome, Graham.
Well,
awesome
I never wanted to do anything else.
I think you're the only one in your family, apart from your dad, who's got a pilot's licence, aren't you?
Yeah.
Or has Mick got one?
I think my uncle had a pilot's licence, but he might have been Dad's sister. Yeah, he was really keen on the Air Force and that.
Oh, right. I didn't know
He
that.
finished up a wing commander.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, he'll be retired now. He'll be well out.
Do you think he'll still be alive?
No idea. We don't keep in touch.
Yeah.
You just drift away, don't you? And
Yeah.
that's the Heskeths for you. It's a very big family. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds, and they're everywhere. And you just once in a while, you know.
Yeah.
And
There's a load of them on the rock. When we first moved here, a lot of people said,
yeah,
are you related to the Heskeths? And I said, I don't think so.
probably distantly, long way back.
One of them was a bishop.
I haven't seen my own brother in over 10 years. I speak to him on WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, there's a
WhatsApp.
Bishop Hesketh. I've never met him.
Oh, I don't think he's around now, but he
wasn't he?
was when we first. Yeah, I think he died a few years ago.
Mm.
Yes.
But I'm the only one really that was into flying. I only really wanted to do flying. That was all I ever wanted to do in life, you know. Anything to do with aviation flying. Didn't care what it was. Helicopters, tail wheels, You get so many snobs at the airport though. They'd move on to tail wheels, and then they'd become a tail wheel snob. And they'd say, I don't want to sit at the table with you. You fly spam cans.
You get the same in marine.
And you get the helicopter pilots all sit on a different table. We don't want to fly with you. We fly those egg whisk things.
It's not snobbery, Graham. It's your inverted snobbery. They were all really down to earth, from what I remember. They were all lovely.
They were.
But I mean, flight sim. You do flight sim a lot. Now, you had a friend, and we won't say his name because I think he still currently works at EasyJet, but he lost his medical. Commercial pilots, it's very, very important that they keep their medical, and they live in fear of losing that. He phoned Graham up about, 8 years ago, and he said, I've lost my medical. And Graham said, why don't you teach the flight sims? You know, they're like this big white egg type thing. And so he did, and he went on, and he's got an illustrious career. In fact, I think he has taught at Milan, hasn't he? And
all over. He was based in Milan.
And he's done really well, and he was like, oh, thank God, I did
well,
that.
nobody passes their test. Like, for example, an A320,
Yeah.
which everybody sees every day. Right, the pilots on that do not pass the test in the actual aeroplane, they pass it in the simulator.
Yeah.
So you go in the simulator and it's like it's a real cockpit. You get in, you sit down, everything's the same as the real, and it even tilts and does all the motions, and they do all the tests and all the failures, everything. They do a proper course. It's called a type rating course, and they do it on the simulator. And he was the instructor, he was the examiner.
But he only went down that route because you said to him.
Well, he lost his medical. The guy's
up.
a fully qualified pilot,
Yeah.
and he was my PPL instructor when I did my PPL. So I said to him, well, you're already an instructor, you're a really good instructor, why don't you instruct on the A320? And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
He got qualified on it, and that's what he did.
And he's had a great career
still
doing it, hasn't
still
he?
doing it years later.
But yeah, the flight sim. And what about fighter pilots? They use flight sim, I presume?
Yeah. The American Air Force uses the VR headsets that I've got, obviously much more expensive ones. I've got the cheapest one I could buy that would work, but they all sit there in rooms, rows of them. And they've got the joystick and the throttle, and they're there going through all the exercises, flying the planes in VR, and it saves the American government a fortune in training and fuel and aeroplanes and hours and money, and it's amazing. And then once they're up to speed and they got everything right in the classroom in the VR, they go off and they get in the jet and do it for real.
Yeah.
But you actually pass your test in the simulator on the A320. You pass your test in the simulator, get your licence stamped.
I remember when...
so the first time you get in the aeroplane, you're licensed to fly it.
When Faith did her training at Milan, she took a load of pictures of the simulators and stuff. There were about 3 or 4 of them in one room. Seriously expensive kit.
Well, the pilots have got to have currency checks. They've got to, every 6 months. I don't know what I'm just making this up now. But every 6 months, say, you've got to go and get checked out again. You've got to go and the instructor tests you and makes sure you're up to speed with everything. Says, yeah, you're okay, and they go back and they carry on flying. But they've got to do that. So that's what those simulators were for sure. I don't know what they call them kind of checks. I've never been an airline pilot, you see, so I don't know.
And it's so realistic.
Oh,
I mean, when you said to me in the lockdown,
you get vertigo looking down. Whoa,
big time. In the lockdown, he said to me, learn to fly a helicopter, which I didn't really want to do, and I was freaking out. I knew I was on a chair in a house, but your brain's telling you you're 2,000 feet above Shoreham Airport, and I really freaked. But I managed to learn to fly a helicopter, which is not as easy as it sounds.
Well, what I did
in 6 hours, he reckoned you could learn to fly a helicopter in 6 hours. And I think I'm pretty shit helicopter pilot, but I can.
Well, the more you fly it, the more you fly it, the better you get. You went from crashing every 5 minutes to,
oh god, yeah,
to taking it in between 2 buildings and putting it down. She flew it on the Tower Bridge and everything. So I mean, she could do it. She did it in 6 hours.
I'd be dripping with sweat the whole time, like it was a real helicopter.
But with a helicopter, you've got the joystick, but instead of having a throttle, you've got like a big handbrake lever that you pull up and down, which is the collective lever. So what I did is I got the throttles, the normal throttles that you have.
Yeah.
And I mounted it vertically on the side of the chair, so you've got to lift the throttles and put the throttles down. So you haven't got to go out and spend a fortune buying an expensive collective lever that will work on a USB socket. You just get an ordinary throttle and screw it to the side of the chair, so you're lifting it and lowering it to go up and down. And it's all tiny movements, of course. And if you lower it too much, it comes down like a brick, and then when you pull it up, you get blade slap, and it's like the blade stall, and you just go wallop. So you've got to do it small, gradually, and treat it like the most tempestuous racehorse ever. You know, you've got to treat it with kid gloves, the helicopter. Whereas aeroplanes, you just throw them around, it just doesn't matter. Yeah.
Oh, anyway. Oh, hello, kitty.
So what's new with you? Anything?
Nothing. Nothing.
You've been chilled out all day, sleeping. It's been so hot today, though, hasn't it?
I've been sunbathing and roasting in the sun. I think I've got too much sun, and then, like you this afternoon, I just went to sleep. I can't believe how lazy I've been. Hello. Hello. Come and say hello.
Well, the most reason we went to Biggin Hill was that's where we leased the planes from, and so they had to go back every 50 hours for servicing and annuals and things, you know, so you're constantly ferrying them backwards and forwards to Biggin Hill.
That's right, I remember for the 100-hour, 50-hour checks or whatever.
100 hours.
Anyway, yeah, I think I'll probably get something to eat now.
Okie dokie, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.